Welcome back to the Elevated Life podcast. We have a very special episode with an incredible guest. And listen, she's from Waterloo, where I'm from. So I'm
All
excited
right
about
now.
that as well.
And the home
We
team. Uh-oh.
we have a special guest. But before we dive into it, I am your host, Yvette.
And I am your co-host, Ashley.
And we have with us Keyaira Miller, who's going to share some good experience and insight. We are like super hungry for this, y'all, about personal branding in general. And so, welcome, Keyaira.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Seriously, like you two are just, I love what you're doing. So thank you.
Likewise, we are so excited to have you on with us today and share all of your expertise. But if it's okay with you, I'll share a little bit about your background and then we'll get right into the conversation.
All right, sounds good.
Very good. Keyaira Miller is a powerhouse brand and product strategist with nearly 20 years of experience shaping consumer brands at Amazon, Target, and Fortune 50 companies. She's the founder of the Edit Consulting Group, where she partners with leaders, brands, and corporations, athletes, and cultural tastemakers to turn cultural influence into sustainable business growth. Keyaira has led iconic product launches and cultural initiatives, including Target and Tabitha Brown, Kate Spade and Target, and Ghetto Gastro, and has driven large-scale cultural activations with Essence Media and Coca-Cola. A trusted voice on national stages like NMSDC and WBENC, she brings insight at the intersection of brand strategy, culture, and impact. I need all of them things in the last part of this. Strategy, culture, impact. If I could just
Write it down, okay?
if I could just
That
get
went
it
down memory lane here. Okay.
at once. That is awesome. We are thrilled to have you here with us today, Keyaira. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you again.
Very good. So, branding and influence and how you are able to leverage those things in multiple different avenues. I'm just excited, about this topic.
Also very excited. And we spend a lot of time, Keyaira, talking about imposter syndrome, really talking through what it means to have an elevated life in every aspect of your life. And so one of the things that comes to mind for me personally, when I start thinking about brand and personal brand, with some of the struggles that our listeners might have, that sometimes I have, in terms of self-doubt, what do you wish people understood about confidence at higher levels of success?
I love this question because it's a real thing, right? Like confidence doesn't just organically come. It's something that you have to be very, very, intentional about. It means that, you move with the doubt instead of waiting for certainty or whatever. And I feel like when you get to higher levels, doubt is often a sign that you're stretching into something, so stretching into something meaningful or whatnot. And so again, when I think about the phases in my career and the type of confidence I've had to have at each of those levels, it's really just trusting your ability that you're going to figure it out. It's not, confidence doesn't come from other people's approval. It's within you that I've learned. And it took me a good chunk of my career to realize that. And rightfully so, when you're starting into an industry, there's imposter syndrome. You're questioning yourself. You feel like, do I belong here? But I just feel like as you progress in your career and you're seeing more of your purpose, that confidence is just, it's something that it's within you and not anybody else's, being.
Yeah. I think that is awesome. And that's a great perspective because when you think about it, And I love the analogy that you started with, is that, when you're having that growth and when you're going to that next level, there isn't always a playbook or someone to tell you step by step where to go. Like, you're figuring it out literally in the moment. And a part of that keyword, that trust really is, I think, grace too. Like, you have to trust yourself that I know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be here. If I don't make the right decision, it probably is okay. What can I learn from it? And how would I, pivot or change what I do, next time?
Exactly.
So would you say, like, in your experience, does imposter syndrome, does it impact your consistency at all? Like, how does it impact your ability to, show up like who you are, knowing that you have the knowledge, the expertise, knowing, that I am a subject matter expert in this particular topic, or, I can be a trusted member of my team, to contribute this to the organization consistently. So how would you say, from your experience, imposter syndrome, shows up when it comes to consistently showing up, essentially? Like, how does it impact that when you can do it, but at the same time, you don't necessarily let on to that always?
Oh my gosh. Like, again, something I realized as I progressed, it just have gotten older. Imposter syndrome is a real thing. It doesn't matter at what height in your career or personal development you're at. Like, it's always going to be there. And so how I've kind of learned to move through imposter syndrome is like thinking of it from a sense of like, it doesn't stop talent, it just disrupts rhythm. Right?
Oh, okay now.
I see. I just had this
conversation. Don't stop talent.
It doesn't. I just had this conversation with
somebody
a year ago, and it struck me of like, it's not stopping the show, but it does it does disrupt some things that you have and get in there. And so I think, like, the first mindset shift is realizing consistency builds confidence and not the other way around, And so again, when I am hit with imposter syndrome, because like I said, it hits everyone and at different times, rates and all that good stuff, it's just like, just working through it and just being intentional and telling myself, like, you got this, like, you got to keep going and you got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, because it goes back to like, and for me, being a newly full-time entrepreneur, I too had that imposter syndrome this year of like, oh my God, like, going on my own, can I do this? And I just had to stop and be like, look, it's never gonna be perfect and you're never gonna feel 100% ready. You just got to go out there and do it. Like, you got to jump off the ledge.
That's the hardest part.
It is.
That's the hardest part. And then once you jump out there, you're like, all right, now I'm out here. Now what? Okay.
Right. Exactly. You realize, like, okay, that didn't hurt too much. Like, okay, this feels good. Okay, I got my rhythm. You know what I mean? And so just get that initial.
I love that though. That it doesn't stop the talent. The talent is not.
Yes, it doesn't stop the talent. It just disrupts your rhythm. And I think when you, the beauty of where we all are in our career is we can start to recognize when that's showing up, right? The 20-year-old me, it was just on repeat, right? Those imposter syndrome thoughts and challenges. And then as I've gotten older, it's like, no, wait a minute, hold up.
Yes.
I look, I see you sitting over here and disrupt my rhythm.
Exactly.
Like, and it ain't good. Right. And or just recognizing, like, okay, I see a pattern of where these feelings come and is it because it's something new and challenging? Am I being stretched? Like you said, like self-doubt is flipping that mindset of this is an indication of something else that's going on. It is not a reflection of my value, my worth, my experience, my talent, my
what I can do. Yeah.
your ability. Like it's not a measure. Like that's not a metrical
Right.
thing. You know what I mean? It is literally just the psyche of things that you can get through. It's just acknowledging it, and like I said, being intentional about pushing through that or whatnot. Because for me, like, and again, I've had to learn through experience and really through great mentors, is that, you know, you don't get confidence and then just show up. You show up, and through that is where the confidence comes through, and that imposter syndrome just seems to get further and further away until you're met with something new that's challenging, maybe uncomfortable, you know, something I've told my teams and people, and I continuously tell myself, is like, to get comfortable, you had to be uncomfortable at some point, you know? And so recognize it, work through it, and kill it. You know what I mean?
Good.
It's set
Good.
Absolutely. So what
Yes.
do you do? So like when you get those things that start to like, it starts to feel overwhelming because like, you know, you on this project, they called you for a reason. You know why you there. They know why you there. The hard questions are coming in. The long days are coming in. The meetings that weren't planned, and it's a fire, and you like, it's not even a big deal. I don't know why y'all freaking out, because you are qualified, you are talented, you supposed to be there. But in those moments, like, you know, what is one thing that from your perspective that you can do to, you know, kind of quiet that overwhelm and show up really and demonstrate, or, you know, kind of shift the narrative around, you know, I'm overwhelmed by this. I don't know if I'm able to show up as, you know, who I say I am. If we use business, for example, you know, you have offered your service to, you know, your customers. Your customer is there. You're providing the service to them, and then, you know, you have to, you know, do a follow up or answer a question that you didn't plan on, or like even for us, like when we're presenting live to a group room full of people, we don't know what questions may come up. You know, answering those questions in the moment, like, what is one thing that you think is helpful to lean into when you're like real time in that moment, and we've checked all the boxes, we're there, you know, do you just ignore it, and, you know, is it a fake it till you make it, or is it, what are your thoughts there?
You know, I feel like it's a mixture of things, right? So like, there's been moments, I can remember my time at Amazon where I felt the most where I had imposter syndrome, because Amazon is this mega machine with brilliant people there, and they don't let you forget it, right? And that was a place where I constantly had to literally repeat in my mind, like, they hired you for a reason. They hired you for a reason. You're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. So like, one is like self-talk. There's a quote actually that I have in my office. I have like part of my wall art is like affirmations, but they're like music lyrics from like some of my favorite music artists and stuff. And one in particular that I've literally had this quote close and near to me for like 15 years is by Jay-Z, and it's, nobody's built like you, you design yourself. And that always like puts me back into place. Like, I know what I bring to the table, and I know I bring a unique perspective wherever it is, and I just lean on that. And it's literally me telling, like, even if I'm faking it, or I don't know the answer or whatnot, guess what? I'm gonna give the most confident assumption or whatever. Or even if I don't know it, I'm gonna say it in a confident way of like, I need to follow back up, or I don't know, you know, whatever the case may
And
be.
that's it right there. That's like my go-to. I don't pretend to know all the answers. Let me follow up with you. You know,
Question.
great question.
Yes, exactly. And in my past roles, like QBRs, you were put on the spot. Like, hey, why is it such and such down? I need an answer. Okay, well, I may not have dug into it or have it at this moment, but I'll make sure, or this is my assumption. Like, it's just, I think it goes back to just being your authentic self, even in those moments. Just be you, you know. And like I said, I talk to myself in my head, like, I gotta constantly talk to myself, and it
Yes.
serves me well. But I need that motivation in those moments where it's right in the moment. You know what I mean? You have to
Absolutely.
create those mechanisms to survive, especially in corporate. I feel
Yeah.
like
Oh, absolutely.
equip yourself with the tools and resources to stay mentally sound.
Mhm.
You
And
know, it's so good
continue
to
to
hear,
believe in
like,
yourself. Yeah.
absolutely continue that belief, and it's good to know I'm not the only person that talks to themselves, because I have to do that on a regular, like,
Oh,
full
absolutely.
blown conversation. Like, what you go, how you need to decide how you gonna show up. You already know. You done been through this. Like, ain't nobody thinking about them people. Like, I have to work through
Real.
all of those things. And I
Yes.
think it's a good segue to this next question. Just bringing it back to your marketing experience and your expertise as a subject matter expert on marketing and brands. Kira, you have a lot of experience in different organizations, different platforms, different, as even going back to your buyer days, like, you've seen a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you really take that marketing concept in terms of turning it into one simple marketing action that a woman can take that can build their confidence, and really help them to strive for the outcome that they might desire?
I mean, I try to keep that real simple, and it's literally with like one message or like one audience, one platform, one post. Like, it's literally, I know it's not as simple as it sounds, but in theory, like, it is. It's literally taking one thing at a time. And for
Yeah.
someone that's, when you think of the product life cycle, I've had a role in all of it, from buying, sourcing, marketing, vendor development, PD. Like, I've had my hands in it over my 20-year career. And especially pivoting into marketing and brand management and product management, it literally comes back to that of like, all right, you just gotta, like, what's that one message that you want to be known for, or what's that one audience that you want to solidify or be in front of, you know what I mean? And it just simplifies things, where you can actually take manageable steps to whatever you're trying to convey or do.
Yeah.
You know, confidence, it's not like, in doing that, it's through completion, right? Like, that's why I come with the one message, the one audience, the one platform. Like, it's through completion, not necessarily volume, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah. So completing that one intent
yes, yes,
and
you're able to
then you
build
work
on.
by
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like the snowball effect.
Yeah.
And like, it's
Yeah.
literally like that is what
Mhm.
I do or apply in this journey.
So what role would you say, like, leading right into that, like, the clarity, like, so to your point, if you are clear on what your one offering is, what your expertise is, what your, what your flagship is, like, I'm gonna hang my hat on this every single day of the week. For us, it's connecting, with women that are in, mid-career, balancing multiple responsibilities, but still remembering to show up for themselves,
Yes.
and have goals. Like, we taking this thing higher, and it's going as far
Yeah.
as the Lord want to take it.
Yep.
So, with that, how important is being clear on what your flagship is, what your table stakes are, what your non-negotiables are, from a business perspective, who your target, client or customer is, if you're in an engagement space like we are with the podcast, like, who are you trying to engage? Who wants to get connected with your messaging? How important is clarity?
I mean, it's so important. Like, it should be your North Star, right? Because if you don't know who you are, or if you don't know where you're going, how do you expect that audience or whomever's on the receiving end to know or to meet you there? Like, clarity. And this is something that I preach to my clients, when I've had large teams. Like, you always have to have that clarity, always, because again, when you know who you're for and why you show up, when outside noise starts coming creeping into there, like that validation, won't matter. You won't
so
try to
true.
chase approval for things that you're trying to be this person or you're trying to be that person. Like, the beauty is being you, and you have to be crisp and clear on who you are and what you want to accomplish. Because like I said, if you don't have that clarity, you're going to be everything for everyone, and not all of that is going to give you the ROI that you're looking for, or you're going to be wasting your time and spinning your wheels. A lot of things, when you lack clarity, you're spending your time on things that, again, isn't giving you a ROI, or you're just wasting time when that could be suited for something else that is more meaningful and driven within whatever it is that you're trying to do. So I mean, clarity is just that North Star. It's going to help you, like I said, quiet the noise and just really be able to drive towards your true purpose. Like, it's a must.
And I was going to say exactly that. And, we are speaking of purpose and having clarity and being grounded in that, and how, you circle back to that as your grounding force. But, if we are honest here, finding it and holding on to it takes courage.
Yes.
It is courageous. And just even before we started recording, we were talking about, just like the comfort of the things that, like, I desire to live a certain way, or I desire to have experience of a certain type. I expect a career that yields these type of things. That's uncomfortable when you're writing the definition of your purpose. And your purpose can evolve and change over time. I don't think it has to stay the same. Of course, at the core, you're going to be who you are. But I do think that the beautiful thing about a journey and a story that you're writing, which is our life, and, God's writing it with us. But with that, you have the ability to change that narrative, to change that purpose, to change the direction. The things that used to motivate me, before, don't anymore, and that's okay. And being okay with that. And I think you shared some really key things there, like having clarity on that, being courageous enough to know that, this is a sexy job, but it's probably not giving me the work-life balance that I need.
Right. Or it's not meeting
that's
the value, purpose that I desire. And I think what happens is, when you become, what I think happens for me is, when I become more and more clear, my purpose becomes more and more clear. Right?
And louder.
And louder. And it becomes a non-negotiable in ways that is empowering and really yields the outcome that I desire and that God has really designed. And so there's a lot of power in that. When you say, no, I'm getting clarity about where I want to spend my time, because spending my time over here allows me to accomplish this part of my purpose. And anything that's going to distract from that, it's misaligned to my brand, it's misaligned, and it's not worthy of my time. And so for me personally, I'm one of those people that I dream big, think big, and shiny things are very engaging and exciting. Like, we can do this, and then overwhelmed because I'm doing too much, and what I'm doing isn't yielding that return from what, if I was really focused on my purpose and my brand, what it really would actually offer me. And so the courage for me, because I think it's different for different people, is saying no. That's where the courage for me comes in, where I got to say no to this. Woo, that looks fun and that looks exciting. And girl, I could do this. And what if this happens? And then I say, well, wait a minute.
Right.
Exactly. And I'm be exhausted and frustrated, and it's going to rob me of valuable time to spend on things that are more aligned to my purpose.
Exactly. And I loved your explanation, because you ever realize, like, clarity creates calmness too.
Mhm.
Like
Come
when
on,
you have
peace.
that clarity, no, seriously, like when you have that clarity, you're more at ease. Your mind is more focused on the task at hand, where again, when you don't know who you are, you're going to be what other people want you to be, and that's going to create you being all over the place and stuff.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
again,
And
like,
how does that help with your, when we bring it from a brand perspective? Who want to go with somebody that don't know where they're going? Who want to go with somebody that they up this day, they down that day, they over here?
no,
This
like
I can't
guests,
keep up.
customers, if you have an audience, they can read that and tell that in a heartbeat. They want to follow someone that, they can see themselves in, per se, but they follow that person or they're guided by that brand or person because they are 100% sure on, they know what they're going to get from that person. It's not going to be different next week or a year from now. Like, people evolve, obviously, but they, at the true heart of their brand, they know what they represent and who they are. And guests and customers, they can spot that from a mile away. You have some really iconic brands that are great brands, but whatever trend there is, that's who they are. And they wonder why they can't really represent or even put on paper who they are as a brand. And then they got all these customers and trying to do this activation to gather this guest and that guest, and it's based off trends which move quickly. And then you're left with trying to start all over. Like,
I would think it would hinder momentum. Like, how can you build momentum and how can you build upon what you have? So for me, what comes to mind is like that balance of maintaining that consistency and clarity on purpose, but also being intentional about the steps that you take forward, and having them align, with that purpose and the elevation that you're looking to.
absolutely. You find yourself always chasing in to, like, the brands are chasing into things versus being proactive and like having the customers come to them. They're running after them. You know what I mean? And
so this is perfect segue. So what is one myth that you think we have around that as women? Like, what gets us stuck around like offering our business to the ideal customer? Because it comes and you're talking to someone, they're telling you about something they have going on, and you thinking like, girl, let me just, this will take me 10 minutes, let me just help and you don't say nothing. You just like, oh, okay, I hope he's figure it out, when you have a solution. Or like, what is one myth, or where do we get stuck as women, thinking about how to offer what we know we can do well to others?
That everything has to be perfect. I think that's the number one thing. Like I said, I've experienced, and then
I'm a recovering perfectionist. So that's
for real. Like, I hear from my peers or friends and things like that it has to be perfect. And I'm not saying men founders or people aren't like that, but I think as women, we are very meticulous on how we want to be viewed and represented, and we want it done perfectly. And there is no perfect. There is no perfect. It's just by doing, or that concept of, I need to be ready. And it's like, there's good times, but there's never going to be a perfect time. You just literally have to do or whatnot. So I think that's mine. It's like, it has to be perfect.
Oh, absolutely. So how do you get unstuck from that? So, okay, we're acknowledging it. We know that it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to just do it. We know we need to do our one thing, just do the one thing at a time. Is it just like, do you build out a schedule for yourself? Do you have an accountability partner? What, like, I'm asking for myself. Okay.
All of the above, to be honest, all of those things, accountability partners. I feel like you learn by doing and just doing it. Like, I feel like you need a mix of all of those things. Like, yes, there are going to be individuals where, like, I need to write a roadmap. I was stuck on that. I had a big whiteboard in my living room for like months of like, okay, and this month I'm going to do this, and that. And that month I'm going to do this, and that. And I quickly learned, like, okay, Keyaira, like
Mm-hmm.
being a little bit, you can't do everything in this month. So let's pick and prioritize what we actually are going to need done and want
Yep.
done. And let's start from there or whatnot.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
yeah, it's just, it's
Yeah.
Great.
just, it's.
But I think I do think having that vision, that roadmap is good. But
Yes.
it's like you said, you can get into, I'll use the phrase analysis paralysis,
Oh, for
where
sure.
you just, you feel like you get the same thing. It comes back to perfectionism. You got to have every detail, every specific decision, every action, everything figured out before you can move, or
Absolutely.
you're trying to take on so much because you're trying to build so fast, right? Like there's so many things that can kind of get in the way. I think for me, just to be, what I normally do to really be very real with myself is sometimes I got to kick myself in the butt. Like, get it together. Like, same, like some of those things that it's like that pep talk that you have to have where, it's not, oh, it's going to be okay. No, get your life. Like,
Yes.
you have a reason.
Not gonna
Yes.
be okay.
Stop playing.
Yes.
What you trying to do? And
Right.
let's get it done.
Okay.
I just have those moments of, okay, we done did enough of I don't know if I can figure this out. And I've done enough of that wallowing
Yes.
and trying to, figure, it out in my brain. And then it's just like, okay, let's spring into action.
Yes.
Let's get it.
We will
So,
give
yeah.
ourselves all the excuses in the world. I know for me, I was like, people would ask me when I got, vocal about what I'm doing, like, oh, are you doing that? I'm like, no, I need to make a website, this and that. And I literally had, actually, a friend of mine told me, like, what you waiting on a website for? Like, don't nobody care about the website. Like, they
Mhm.
want your work. Like, get
Yeah.
to it. And I was just like, you're right. Like, that can be built along the way. It's not a must.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. And that brings me to another point too, is like, vocalize what you want to do so that your circle and your village can hold you accountable too. Because I will say, shout out to my girls. Like, when I would say, like, okay, guys, like, I'm doing this here, I'm gonna go full time, this and that, they would literally check in. They put it in the conversation some way, shape, or form. Like, so how's it going? And if the answer wasn't what it needed to be, they would be like, so what you waiting for, Keyaira? Or when's this gonna be coming? Or I had some friends like literally send me clients of like, I told them about you and they said they go call you and da 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 da, get to
Awesome.
it. And so I think it's important to like share those things with your village so that they can hold you accountable to on days where you just don't have it in you. Because I will say, like, there's some days where you just like, I can't do this, or like that self-doubt is real. You have to take time to work through it and it's a process, but when you're in those moments, sometimes you just need that extra hand to like really get you out that slump or over the hump.
Yeah, that's very, very real. That's very real. Well, we are coming to the end of our time
Oh,
together already.
So fast.
Love
So
this
fast.
discussion. This is like one of
Very
those
motivating.
girls' nights where you
Yes.
just hang out and you talk about things and you share. I love these kind of conversations, and
Absolutely.
really, these are the kind of discussions that Ashley and I would have over the phone that really really prompted her to say, Yvette, we need to share this
Mhm.
with other women. Let's start a podcast.
Love it.
And so thank you for being part of this with us. Before we wrap up, I always like to end with, what are your last parting thoughts that you want to share with our listeners? What's one or two things that you've taken away today that you want to share? Ashley, I'm going to start with you, and then Keyaira, we're going to end with you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so I shared a few of them, previously, but I am just really taking it all in. This has been a dynamic conversation, Keyaira. So thank you so much for your time. But there are so many things that you said today that resonated with me, keeping locked in on your purpose, even in moments, that are not planned and that are spontaneous, that come up and pop up out of nowhere,
Mhm.
still knowing I am here for a reason. I got a seat at the table on it. I don't have to know the answer, and that's fine. And moving on, we can get back together with that. So that definitely is a great reminder, but also that clarity piece, like being clear on what that purpose is. Many of us can say what our purpose is, but are you clear on it? And are you aligned in understanding how your actions are really yielding what you say you want to do and who you say you are? A great reminder on that perspective. And then also, I think too, the accountability is a big thing. Just really making sure that you have someone's a group, whatever that looks like for you, having some type of system in place to kind of keep you on track, because you do sometimes need some external motivation. Sometimes it falls short. You don't have it for yourself that day, and to have others around you, that village. I am a strong believer in a village in all things. So I think that's right on time as well. And then just really, knowing, not holding yourself back really is what I would say, because you're standing in your own way. Like, what you offer, what you can do, why you doing it. So, and it's not for everybody. Remembering that too, it's not for everybody. And the people that is for, you are here to serve those people that is for. So it was a great refresher to me. I'm excited going into the next quarter. Yes. I can't wait. Taking this conversation into that is great grounding reminders, and really, really reinvigorates, my passion behind all the things that I do. So I thank you for a great conversation.
I love it. Love it.
And I would say very timely for me too. So, there's some moves in my career that I've made recently, and imposter syndrome is a real thing when those new challenges come up. And so this has been a very good reminder for me of all the things that I already know, but I oftentimes forget. And one of the things that really stood out was how you framed imposter syndrome, meaning it's not about your talent, right? It really is a disruptor to your rhythm. And so it doesn't stop your talent, but it can disrupt your rhythm. And when you have that awareness, when you know a disruptor is coming, how do you mitigate that? And I think that's what has been a really strong light bulb moment for me. So thank you for sharing that, Keyaira. Your final thoughts.
Yes. So one, this was just an amazing conversation. Like, I love just sharing the gems, receiving gems from you ladies. Like, it's just been amazing. But what I will say is that, something I've personally learned from leaving the comforts of corporate and venturing off and doing my own consultancy agency full time is that, you don't need to become someone else to be visible. And for me, I've always had a Target attached to me, an Amazon, these mega machines attached to the great work that I've been able to do. But I know that great work comes from me and amazing teams that I've been around. And so I tell people this, like, you don't have to show up as someone else. There's power in being you. And the moment you decide to show up as yourself with intention, your brand, your personal branding, whatever it is that you're going towards, like, starts really working for you. Because confidence doesn't come from having it all figured out. Again, we talked about this tonight. Like, you're never going to have it all figured out. It really comes from, like, trusting yourself enough to take the next step. And it doesn't mean that, I know the day and age that we're in of social media, it's very instant. It glamorizes the process of entrepreneurship, but you don't need to be louder. You don't need to be more polished. You don't have to be like everyone else. You know what I mean? Like, clarity plus action will always quiet the doubt. And so again, just be your authentic self, and the right audience and people or collaborators will gravitate to you. I promise. It always does. Just be yourself. Be comfortable being yourself.
Good. I love
this
that.
Is fantastic. Oh my gosh. This is all day.
This is love it. I love it.
Fantastic.
Yes, I think that's a good way to end our episode today.
Tell us where to find you, share, with our listeners.
Yes. Everyone can find me on Instagram, at Keyaira Miller. LinkedIn at Keyaira Miller, or if you have any questions about the Edit Consulting Group, you can email me at Keyaira at theeditconsulting.com.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you
So much for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Yes, take
Thanks,
care.
everyone.
Right,
All right. Bye.
Bye.